Looking back, hands down, this is the number one mistake that I made when it came to starting my business, and the biggest mistake I really have made in my life. Hey guys, my name is Ryan here at Signature Edits, and inside of this video, I'm talking about the biggest mistake that I've ever made in my business, and coincidentally, the biggest mistake I've made in my entire life. Now, before I actually tell you what that is, because I wish someone had told me this before I started out, I want to just ask you a question. What would have happened if J.K. Rowling or C.S. Lewis had decided they were going to try and be writers, but they were also going to try and be professional jugglers, or they were going to try and be stand-up comedians? What would have happened if Wayne Gretzky had said, you know, I want to be a hockey player, but I also want to be an architect? What would have happened if Michael Jordan had said, you know, I want to be a basketball player, but I also want to be a baseball player? And if you're not a sports fan, you kind of missed the reference because Michael Jordan actually did try to become a baseball player after he was a basketball player. And you know what happened? He sucked. Now, he didn't suck by my standards because compared to me, he was an amazing baseball player. He was just naturally an amazing athlete. But compared to all of the baseball players who that's all they did in their entire lives, he was rubbish. He just could not play pro ball. And that's the mistake that I wish someone had warned me about before I started my business, before I really went about all of the mistakes I've made in my life. It's you can't be everything to everyone. And people who try to do that, people who try to do many different things, wind up doing many different things poorly instead of doing one thing incredibly well. And really, when it comes down to it, the success that you find in your business and in your life is going to come down to how well you do something. If you do something incredibly well, even if it's random and very niche and not too many people like it, that thing is going to set you apart. If you do many things at an ordinary or mediocre level, that's going to just make you struggle for the rest of your life. Now, when I started out my business, I made this mistake. I said, you know what? I do photography. And that means I do weddings, I do portraits, I do events, I do sports, I do landscapes, I do nature, you name it, I'll photograph it. I'll do everything. And so my website was plastered with all sorts of different photos that I take. Every single thing under the sun. And you know what happened? I turned myself into a Walmart photographer. And I have nothing against Walmart. In fact, I shop there all the time because it's cheap. But when it comes to quality, do you go to Walmart? Probably not. If you're looking for the absolute best of the best, do you think Walmart as a brand? No. And so what happens when you go to Walmart for photos? You get an average experience. You get mediocre results. And that's because that's their business model. We're going to give you the cheapest price and the most value we can at that cheapest price for everybody. They try and serve everyone. Now imagine if Gordon Ramsay, instead of becoming an amazing chef, had also decided that he wanted to, be a blogger on the tech industry, right? It just wouldn't have worked. You can't do two things incredibly well. And we've all had that experience of we go into a restaurant and you open up the menu and it's like 10 pages long and they serve Chinese food and Thai food and diner food and pub food and they have pizza and croissants and just like all the food under the sun, they make it. Right? That's what a lot of photographers and a lot of business people do, is they say, you know, I'm going to do absolutely everything. And what happens when you go to one of those restaurants? You might order something and it's okay, but it's probably not going to be amazing. It's certainly not going to be the best Thai food you ever had, not the best Chinese food you ever had, because they're trying to do everything instead of doing one thing really, really well. So with that in mind, the better you get, the bigger you get. And that's the real secret when it comes to business, when it comes to your life, honestly, is the better you get at one thing, the more incredible you get at one thing, the better your results are going to be. The secret when it comes to building a photography business or building a business in any other industry comes down to doing one thing really, really well, so much better than anybody else does it, that you can charge those kind of prices. You can draw a crowd, you can attract customers without having to spend all of your time just pandering after people, lowering your prices, and just struggling. So instead of taking the next 10 years to learn 10 different photography styles or 10 different whatever it is that you're doing, just jumping from one thing to another, pick one niche, pick one style of photography, pick one specific kind of area you want to serve your clients, whether that's newborn photography or maternity photos or weddings or whatever. Pick one thing and become the best you can at that thing. Because here's the difference between Walmart portraits and Annie Leibovitz portraits. Walmart, you go in, you spend $25, $30, you get a portrait and it's okay. Annie Leibovitz, you go in, well, you don't really go in. She has to come to you, or it's a very exclusive thing. And she charges $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for her shoots, whereas Walmart, $25, $30. Which photographer do you want to be? Which kind of business do you want to run? Which do you think would be more creatively fulfilling? Being the very best at what you do, or being really mediocre at everything? So that's just my thought for today as I'm reflecting on my own business and where I want to go in the future. I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing it at the very best level. And that means going deep, not playing wide, not trying to please everybody, but trying to please a very specific person, because you can't please everybody. Those who try wind up pleasing nobody. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, hit the like button, leave a comment below. What do you think? Do you think you should focus on one specific niche, or do you disagree? Are you better off to master many different trades? There are different opinions. I'm willing to be wrong, so let's have a discussion below. Hit subscribe if you want more content like this, free resources, tutorials, photography stuff. I don't care. Let me know what you're thinking, and we'll have a conversation. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime,